Hey everybody, what's up? Well, today what we're going to be doing is we're going to be installing this little 15,000 Mitsubishi. Outdoor model number is MSZ-GL15. Indoors MSZ-GL15. As you can see, if you go around the room here, there's no insulation on the walls yet. But they said they want to go ahead and have the air installed. So he went ahead and put up some beadboard so I can get the air installed for him so he can work in some comfort instead of sweating. Because, you know, when it's 100 degrees outside, it's a lot hotter in here. So we're gonna go ahead and get this thing marked out up there so we can get it hung on the wall. Then we'll go out there and we'll show you what we're gonna do on the outside. All right, so we're just gonna take this back off of here. Pretty easy, come off, it just snaps off. I'll take that tape off later on. There's your old backing plate. And I asked the homeowner where she kind of wanted it. She said she really didn't care as long as it was kind of in there. But we have a 2x4 about right here. We have one right here. We have one right here. So I'm actually going to have to kind of put it, I don't want to get too close over there. So I kind of have to move it over here, just on the other side of this stud right here. So that way, this isn't too far, the side of the unit. Because if you watch, put that in there, you see we have a few inches on each side. So we're kind of having to, so if I was to put it here to kind of center it up, we'd be right on the edge there. So we're just going to have to move it over. And that way when I do my hole, I'm not on that 2x4 there. I can tell there's a stud here because there's a nail right there. So I kind of have to move it over there. So it's going to be closer to that window than it is going to be over there. So it's not going to be really in the center. But she said, the homeowner said she didn't care. So this is kind of about the place where we're going to put it. All right, so I really don't know what kind of trim they're going to put there. So what I'll do is I'll come down about 6 inches from there. And that should give us enough. Because like I said, the trim's only going to be probably a 1x4 or something like that. So I just come down about 6 inches. And what I'm going to do is just make a mark. Just make a mark there. That way I kind of have a starting point. This is, you know, instead of, oh, I'm going to mark the wall here, I'm going to mark the wall there and do all that extra work, I'm just going to kind of see where we're at here. And there's our stud. So I'm actually going to just put it like right there, come up, and I'm going to mark it right here, right there, and mark it right there. And then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take my tape measure, since I know that's a line, that's just my stopping point. I'm just going to take my tape measure right here and get it leveled up. Get it leveled up like that. Draw me a line. Using my pen. Okay. So now my line is drawn. So I know where to put my backing plate. Just put that backing plate right on that line there. And now I don't have to worry about leveling it out. And then my stud's right there. So if I wanted to, I can, you know, put a screw here, put a screw there, screw here, and screw there, and then one in the center, and then we're good to go. All right, so the next thing we're gonna do, since I had the mounting plate, I still got to put a screw down here and a screw down here to hold the bottom. But what we're gonna do is I'm gonna mark my hole. Now, to go out, you need a 3-inch hole. So what we're gonna do is I'm gonna use this line right here and come straight down. And then on this bracket, there's a little line right there. And then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna just draw a level line over to where these two intersect. And then, here, I'll show you. It's gonna be pretty close to right here, right there. And I'm gonna take a level line from this little line right here and right there. And that's gonna be my center of my 3-inch hole right there. Now I know on the bracket it says to go 5 1/8 over from this line right here, but that's not what I do. I do it right here, and then when the unit gets set in place, the line says come out of here perfectly. So that's just my experience. That's how I do it, and it's worked fine for me. So that's the way I'm gonna continue to do it. But that is your center mark right there. We're gonna go ahead and get that hole drilled. I gotta be careful because there's insulation behind it, so I gotta work with that. But that's no big deal. I just cut the hole and then kind of cut the insulation out of the way. There's the insulation I was supposed to be careful of. Okay, so now that we have this wall, the hole in this wall done, what I'm going to do is, because there's sheeting and tie vac on the outside wall, all I'm going to do is I'm going to come in here, get this wood out the way. Alright, since the outside wall has tie vac outside installed already, what I'm going to do, because I don't want to rip it all up, and I know when I go through there, it's going to rip it up. So what I'm going to do is just make a pilot hole, but I'm not going to go straight in. What I'm going to do is go in, drop it down about a 1/2 inch, and then do my pilot hole. So now I know where my hole is on the outside, so I can go out there and X my tie vac and then cut my hole, or drill my hole. All right, so there's our hole. There's our hole all done. I went outside and cut the tie vac, and hey, you can see right through it. What I'll have him spray some spray foam in here, so he'll so the insulation I did mess up, you can spray foam to take care of that. All right, we're gonna get the wire, send the wire outside, get this one wired up while it's on the ground, so we can stick everything through the hole at one time. And then once we do that, the indoor will be done, and we can go work on the outside. All right, so we got our wire through. I'm just gonna pull enough through there so I can take my knife and strip the insulation back. Requires a knife, a sharp knife, of course, and you not cutting yourself. So what this wire is 14 gauge stranded. It's 3 wires with the ground. When I go buy my units, I just buy the wire with it. This is a 50-foot roll. You can buy it in 50 foot, 250 foot. There are times, depending on how busy I am with installing these things, I get to 250 foot. It's just more cost effective. So we got those there. And you see, we have a black, a white, and a red. We have S1, S2, and S3. and you see the colors coordinate, and then we have our ground, which will go right there. But for that ground screw, what I'm going to do is take it off and use that connector, put it under the screw. It just makes for a better ground that way, instead of just trying to put that wire under there. So what I use is one of those little gray push-in connectors for the back. I'll show you that in a minute. Go ahead and get these wires done up. Go ahead and get it. The wire's got a little slot it fits in, like so. The wire just fits right inside there. Sometimes you gotta loosen the screw a little more. That wire, you gotta be careful, because if you get it in there and the wire hits on the little metal piece there, it will it'll separate and you'll have to take it out again. So that's got that one. And then I'll continue with S2 and S3 like that, and I'll cut my ground wire, and like I said, just put that ground wire under there with that little connector. All right, so I went ahead and got these done, and I'll show you here in a second why I do the way I do it. For me, it works easier. Let me go ahead and put this screw back in place. And what I do, see how the wire comes up in here? A lot of people will take this back part off and have the whole thing just hanging there so they can feed their wire up in there because of the way they mount it on the wall. But the way I do it, I don't have to do that. And it works easy for me. It's the easiest thing for me. And that's why, because I know I'm going to answer this question. If you look at that wall over there, all we have is just one board on the wall. Some guys would say, how come you didn't run the line set in the wall? And my answer to them is, because I didn't want to. Because for me, it's easier for me for now and later when it comes time to service this thing, if I ever need to do it the way I'm doing it. Everything, the connections be outside, and that's just the way it goes. So, I'm gonna turn this around. So now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna get my remote control from out of there, for whatever reason it was there. Now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna fold this out like that, get the drain line like that. Now remember, when we do these, your drain line always has to come out below the line set. See how the drain line is below the line set? And the reason why is because if we did like this, the unit would never drain. And so you want to get it below the line set, because when we go out the wall, remember I did that 1/2 inch drop? What that 1/2 inch drop does, it gives you a fall for your drain line. So that way it's not even inside the wall. So that's why I always drop my hole saw down below on the outside. So now what I'm gonna do to make it easy for me is I'm gonna put this together. I'm gonna get me some duct tape. I'm gonna put me a thing of duct tape right here. Let me grab my duct tape here. Hard to do tape when you got gloves on. But I'm gonna peel me a piece of tape off. Like this. I'm gonna go ahead and get everything together. Like this. Get it started. Put the wire on top. Do like that. And then I'll get one more piece and go ahead and tie that together like that. Like so, like that. And now what I'll do is I'll get up on the ladder, I'll move the ladder. Get this blue tape off of here. Just put it back on there for a time being. So now, all I have to do see how I kind of got it up like that. Get rid of that tape. Walk over to the ladder. Put it up on my shoulder. Push this out. Stick it through the wall like that. Like so. Now it's on that, it's on there, and it's snapped in place. See how easy that is? Doesn't have to be difficult. I've seen some videos online where they bring everything up through the wall, and they have to have that little support, you know, so they can work on it. But man, just takes a couple seconds to push everything through the wall, and you don't have to be on your ladder anymore. It's done, it's over. So let's walk outside and see where everything's coming through the wall.